And just like that, we back. Ego Weight Watchers, aka Ill, where I give you a look into the fighter lifestyle before, after, and progress picks, especially when they have an upcoming fight. Now, I already made a video about this. Israil Madrimov, he looked big, he looked huge. Part one of my video, many people understood what I was saying. There were some comments I seen and they were like, oh, but Crawford has power too. Cut the crap, Ego. It wasn't a fight prediction. I'm merely making an observation. Listen, on my channel, get used to it. This is my YouTube. I'm gonna run my YouTube. We work from the ground up. We here now. I'm giving you my opinions. I never even made a fight prediction for this particular fight. It's simply an observation. When I'm looking at Israil Madrimov, I understand there's different dynamics other than the size of a person. I'm merely pointing out this dude looks big for 154, like he could even be at 160 or even 168. He looked pretty big. Like, look at his legs. Look, you know what I mean? Ego Weight Watchers. This is what we do. But at the end of the day, if you want one-sided commentary, then look elsewhere. This ain't the channel for you. I'm always gonna express myself fully and completely. And from what I'm seeing, Madrimov is a big dude. Terence Crawford, the other reason why he looked like Golovkin, I don't care what nobody say. I said that a while ago and some people disagree with me. I see a resemblance even in his build. Yeah, no, God, look, you don't see the like Golovkin kid brother? Look, right there. He don't look like Golovkin. Hell no, guys, had Max is punches knife. Guys on the Max. Bro, I see straight up Golovkin. He look like Golovkin, like little brother, or like he would play Golovkin in a Lifetime movie or something. Look, hey guys, Kazakhstan. Let's get it. But anyway, like I said, Madrimov, this looks like a big dude. And the reason why this is important is, one, he got to make weight. I don't know of another time where Madrimov missed weight. So I'm just going to say he's a consummate professional because I don't ever recall hearing about him missing weight. But Crawford's in there with a real one. It's a guy with an amateur background and it's a guy who's big for the division. Another reason why this is important as it pertains to Bud Crawford is because he is moving up in weight. Yes, he beat Errol Spence. He won convincingly, destroyed Errol Spence, whatever you want to say. Fine. That's at 147. When you move up in weight, you basically hit the reset button on the Nintendo, on the Super Nintendo. And see, look how big he looks. Let me know, is that cap or fact in the comment section that this dude looks big for 154 pounds. But when you move up in weight, you're basically hitting the reset button and you got to do over what you did. It's like almost like a fighter, you know, because he wins a title, your title defense is the same thing. Now you got to defend the title. So you're really hitting the reset button. You got to maintain, because how many people have become champions and it was short-lived? In the words of Biggie Smalls, your reign on the top was short like leprechauns as I crushed so-called willies, thugs, and rapadons. Get in that quick fast like Ramadan. It's that rap phenomenon, duh. You know what I mean? Your reign on the top. I could think of like Jason Rosario. J-Rock had a title for a brief period after he beat Jared Hurd. So many guys have, like even Teofimo Lopez, if we're being honest, when Teofimo at lightweight beat Lomachenko, he unified those titles and then immediately lost it to George Kambosos. So it is what it is. You hit the reset button when you're moving up in weight. Like, who is this dude? You're hitting the reset button, and that's exactly what Crawford is doing. See, look, tell me this man don't look big, bro. You guys think I'm just saying stuff like somebody, I even seen some of the comments said, oh, you're hating on Bud. Yeah, I'm hating on Bud by talking about his opponent, saying his opponent looks in shape and looks big for the division. Boxing is hilarious. Again, if you want one-sided Bud only commentary and you don't want me to show you both sides of the coin, then scram. This is not the channel for you. I'm always going to do the best job that I can. And from what I'm seeing, Madrimov is looking like a big dude, and I'm getting excited for the fight. Now, another reason for me why this is dangerous for Crawford is because Madrimov is a champion. He's undefeated. So to take a guy's title and to take his O, that's not the easiest thing to do. You know what I mean? And Crawford's done it before. You know, Errol Spence was undefeated. But again, you have to hit the reset button. You're in the new division. So it's definitely doable. We've seen it, you know, especially for a guy who's skilled like Crawford. But it's an interesting fight because, like I said, you look at Madrimov and he looks big for the weight class. He's undefeated. And at the end of the day, it takes a bit more effort to take somebody's O and take somebody's belt. So I give props to Crawford for moving up in the Riyadh season and taking an opponent like this. Now, I'm not going to say he had a bunch of options because we know he wants to fight Canelo. Who knows if that fight will ever happen? And he was trying to fight the winner of Fundora versus Tim Tszyu, but PBC got that on lock, you know? So I told you he wasn't going to get that fight. Now he's stuck with Madrimov for champion, and he has to take care of that business. And I'm looking for a good fight. Like, look at the man's forearms. The other thing that's interesting is this is for Crawford, where he's at, especially since I've seen reports. I don't know how true this is, but I've definitely seen reports that are suggesting that Canelo might take a tune-up with Chris Eubank Jr. and then try to fight against Terence Crawford for Riyadh season. Maybe they can get that done. I don't know. But the interesting thing is, one, you can't look too far ahead. And, you know, Canelo would have to beat Chris Eubank. They have to schedule that fight if it even happens. Crawford has to get past Madrimov, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that's interesting here is with Crawford, you're fighting a guy who he doesn't really have the namesake. Like, I'm telling you that he's a good fighter because I've watched him personally, but I cover boxing. So I know more than the average person. You know, I've either went to these guys' fights or I've covered their fights, et cetera, et cetera. So the average fan, I don't believe, is truly familiar with it. What is he in jiu-jitsu? What the heck? I didn't even know he does jiu-jitsu. But the average fan is probably not familiar with Madrimov's game and his brand. So for that reason, it becomes a dangerous fight. Like I said, undefeated guy, champion, and he doesn't carry this like big, huge name. He's also strong. I've watched his fights before. Now, I'm not saying Crawford's not. See, and this is the funny part about boxing. When I make a video like this, you have the other side who's always going to be unhappy because they want one-sided beta male conversation. I'll make videos as we gear up for the Crawford fight. I'll make some Crawford videos if I see anything from Crawford that's worthy of the conversation. But I think Madrimov, a lot of people don't even know who he is. You know what I mean? So they need more detail on him than Crawford. We know Crawford. We know who he is. We know Crawford's good. And, you know, he's training. I'm sure he's training like a dog and getting ready for this fight. But Madrimov is the name that the audiences aren't really familiar with. So on my channel, I like to shed light on situations like this, especially when the person is not as known. And if there's some light that I can shed on the particular matchup. And from what I'm seeing, Madrimov, he has some size to him. So that's him next to Crawford. This was before they really got in camp. They look roughly about the same height. And Madrimov might be a little bit taller, you know, slightly. You guys let me know. It looks pretty close. They look almost about the same height, but I've seen some different angles. And, you know, there's also other variables like the shoes. Like the shoes depend, like some guys have platform shoes and bigger shoes. So there's little subtle differences, but roughly they look about the same size. So I'm looking forward to it. Crawford, he's definitely not a scrub. He's a sharp puncher. And Madrimov, he's never faced anyone as a pro, to me, that's as good as Terence Crawford. But then for Crawford's sake, Crawford, I don't think he's fought somebody quite like Madrimov with the Eastern European style that looks like low key, like he light heavyweight, super middleweight, at least a middleweight size. Like, so I'm anxious for this fight. And he's pretty, look, he's doing the flip. He on his Tank Davis. So he's pretty agile, and he has some footwork that I've seen in his fight. So it's just, he's a look, that's him hitting the flip. So he's almost like acrobatic. And I know Crawford got that too. Crawford can jump high. Crawford's super athletic, but we'll see, you know, we'll see if anything changes as we get closer to the fight. But I'm doing my homework per usual with this particular fight. And the other thing is, I think Madrimov, I got to look at his age, but Madrimov looks like he's gained size, because I know he had a little bit of inactivity, but I think he's even gained more size more recently, because I've seen some of his older fights and he didn't look as filled out at the division, but he's been there. Like, let me see if I can get back to some of the old pictures. He didn't look as big. He looked bigger now than ever. You know, that could come with age. And let me try to get to some of his older pictures. And the same could be said about Terence Crawford, to be honest. Terence Crawford, he looks the biggest that we've seen him currently. See, like, this is like some of the old Madrimov. That's kind of how I remember him. He looked bigger than that. He hitting that flip. Yeah, I remember him looking a little bit leaner. So, dang, that's him with Joshua. But Joshua, he's 6'6". He make everybody look small. That look crazy. You don't look big next to that. But I've seen. But here's a good picture. I want y'all to see this. So see, this is what I'm saying. Dmitry Bivol, that's his friend, and Dmitry Bivol, great champion. He's at 175 pounds, and then look at this man's size next to him. So you guys let me know if I'm tripping, because I seen, again, in the comment section of the last video I did, some people were acting like I shaded Crawford by saying this dude looks big. This is an older picture with him and Bivol, and he looks like he would be probably one division down from Bivol back then, and now he looks even bigger in terms of mass. So it is what it is. So this was in 2 years ago, October 2022. When Bivol fought Zurdo Ramirez. And now Ramirez, just to show you, it was a while ago, Zurdo Ramirez is now a cruiserweight champion. So he's not even at 175 anymore. So I don't know. Gonna be an interesting fight. I definitely want to see how Crawford attempts to tackle this and handles it. I really don't feel like I would bet Crawford by knockout. I mean, I know I'm not trying to doubt Crawford. I know he's a bad boy, but I think a decision, if you're going to pick Crawford, I think decision makes a little bit more sense, because I think people get power a little bit confused. And I don't know, maybe Crawford just in his prime where he just knows how to finish guys. I don't doubt that Crawford could hurt Madrimov, but to actually hurt him and finish him at 54, that would be impressive. That would be very impressive to me, because I think Madrimov is pretty put together, and again, he has some size to him. So if Crawford can do it, and I'm not saying it to try to doubt Crawford, but if he can get the stoppage over a guy like this, then I would definitely be impressed, and I'll give Crawford all of his props. But just as a betting man, if you're gonna pick Crawford, I think Crawford decision makes a little bit more sense to me, and maybe even a controversial decision. You know, and here's the other thing is, we have seen Crawford hurt versus much smaller people. Gamboa, you know, that fight was at 135, and Crawford rehydrated to like 155, somewhere right around there. And then we seen Crawford get hurt versus Mean Machine and dropped. So if guys can hurt you at 35 and 47, then you got to be on your P's and Q's for a Madrimov at 54, or any top puncher at 54. You don't want to get hit with anything silly. So I will keep you guys posted. Let me know what you guys